Suhrawardi, the master of Illuminationist philosophy, and Ibn Sina, the renowned peripatetic philosopher. Though these two thinkers never met in reality, today we will bring them together in an imaginative simulation to debate some of the most profound topics of their time. Our journey will take us to three distinct locations: the scholarly city of Isfahan, the cultural heart of Cairo, and the spiritual center of Medina. The debates will center around three primary themes: the nature of existence and essence, the distinction between discursive and intuitive knowledge, and the question of the imaginal world versus the physical reality. For Suhrawardi, we will draw upon his seminal work, The Philosophy of Illumination, Hikmat al-Ishraq, and The Shape of Light, Hayakal al-Nur. For Ibn Sina, we will reference The Book of Healing, Kitab al-Shifa, and The Book of Salvation, Kitab al-Najat. Join us as we bringing forth the voices of Suhrawardi and Ibn Sina in a timeless debate. In the vibrant city of Isfahan, known for its grand mosques and bustling markets, Suhrawardi and Ibn Sina sit facing each other in a serene garden, surrounded by the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle sound of a flowing fountain.
Let us begin with the very foundation of our understanding of being, Ibn Sina. You have argued extensively in your works that there is a clear distinction between essence, mahiyya, and existence, wujud. According to you, the essence of a thing defines what it is, while existence tells us that it is. However, I challenge this duality. I believe that existence is the light that illuminates essences, allowing them to manifest. Just as the sun reveals the colors of the world, existence reveals the essences, but they are not separate. Like light and color, they are interconnected, inseparable in their very being.
Your analogy of light and sun is poetic, Suhrawardi, but it overlooks the logical necessity of distinguishing essence and existence. Consider a building, for instance. The blueprint of the building represents its essence, its design, its purpose. But the actual construction, the bricks and mortar, represent its existence. One can conceive of the building without it ever being constructed. Thus, essence can be contemplated without existence, proving they are not the same. The essence of a phoenix, for example, is a mythical bird, yet it has no existence in the real world. Essence and existence, therefore, must be distinguished.
But is a building's blueprint truly separate from its reality, or is it merely a different aspect of the same truth? Imagine a sculptor with a piece of marble. The form of the statue, its essence, is already present within the marble. It merely awaits to be revealed by the sculptor's hand. Existence is not something separate from essence, but rather the actuality of essence. When you speak of essence without existence, you speak of mere abstractions, not reality. The essence is already imbued with existence as a potentiality, waiting to be actualized. This is like the light that pervades every corner, yet becomes visible only in its interaction with surfaces.
Yet potentiality itself implies a distinction. The marble, without the sculptor's intervention, remains just marble, formless and undefined. It is only through the act of creation, through actualizing the potential, that essence becomes realized in existence. Thus, the existence of a sculpture is contingent upon an external act. This indicates a separation, a gap between the thing, its essence, and the fact that it does exist, its existence. The clay may hold potential shapes, but until shaped, those forms do not exist. Our intellect distinguishes between these two aspects because it recognizes that existence is not a necessary consequence of essence.
And it is here, Ibn Sina, where our paths diverge. You speak of existence as an attribute added to essence, a thing externally imposed. I see it differently. For existence is the very light that makes essences visible. Without light, colors do not exist. Without existence, essence remains hidden, not because it lacks being, but because it is not yet in the realm of the seen. This is why I say existence and essence are two sides of the same coin. They are not separate realities, but different perspectives of one reality. The concept of separateness is a limitation of human intellect, not a reflection of divine truth.
Your vision of a unified reality is compelling, yet it leans dangerously close to pantheism, blurring the lines between the creator and the created. If we do not distinguish between existence and essence, we risk losing the clarity that has allowed us to understand the world rationally. Just as a painter must distinguish colors to create art, we must distinguish concepts to grasp the truth of the cosmos. Our task as philosophers is not merely to imagine unity, but to discern the underlying order within the divine creation, where essence and existence play distinct roles.
Then perhaps our debate is not about reality itself, but about the lenses through which one perceives it. You are prioritizing distinction and clarity. I seek the illumination of unity. Both perspectives lead us to the same divine source, though through different paths. May our dialogue continue to shed light on these mysteries, much like the setting sun that now bathes Isfahan in its final glow.
Our journey continues to Cairo, the vibrant cultural hub of the Islamic world. The city is alive with the sounds of merchants bargaining in the bustling bazaar, and the calls to prayer echoing from the grand minarets of Al-Azhar. In a tranquil courtyard shaded by date palms, Suhrawardi and Ibn Sina meet again, ready to engage in their next debate.
Suhrawardi, our first debate has illuminated much. Yet I feel we must now turn our attention to the nature of knowledge itself. You have often emphasized intuitive or experiential knowledge as the true path to understanding the divine and metaphysical realities. But I argue that discursive knowledge, knowledge gained through reason, logic, and systematic inquiry, is the cornerstone of all true understanding. Without it, we are left to wander in the darkness of subjectivity and personal interpretation.
Your faith in reason is admirable, Ibn Sina, but it overlooks the profound limitations of discursive thought. Reason, by its very nature, is constrained by the framework of logic and of language. It can dissect, analyze, and categorize, but it can never truly grasp the essence of what it seeks. Imagine a traveler who wishes to understand the taste of honey. No amount of discursive reasoning about its properties, its chemical composition, or its nutritional value can ever replace the experience of tasting it. Intuitive knowledge, which is direct and immediate, provides a form of understanding that goes beyond mere intellectual comprehension. It is a form of presence, of being in union with the object of knowledge.
Your analogy of tasting honey is persuasive, but it conflates physical experience with metaphysical understanding. True knowledge, particularly of the divine, cannot be based merely on subjective experience, which is prone to illusion and error. Consider a mathematician solving a complex equation. His understanding is not a matter of intuition, but the result of a rigorous logical deduction. This is the very essence of discursive knowledge. a structured, methodical approach that seeks to eliminate errors and reach objective truth. If we were to rely solely on intuition, we would open the doors to superstition and mysticism, undermining the rational pursuit of divine knowledge.
But Ibn Sina is not the highest form of knowledge, an encounter with the divine itself, something beyond the realm of reason. Imagine a bird trapped within a cage. Discursive knowledge is like observing the world through bars, limited and obstructed. Intuitive knowledge, however, is like flying freely in the open sky, unbound by the constraints of human logic. The divine reality is not something which may be captured fully by logical structures. It must be experienced directly, like the light that suddenly illuminates a dark room. It is through this illumination that true knowledge is attained, a knowledge that discursive reasoning can never reach on its own.
You speak of flying in the open sky, yet even a bird needs guidance to navigate the winds. Intuition without the grounding of reason is like a bird flying blindly without direction. Discursive knowledge provides the compass, the stars by which we navigate the vast expanse of reality. Imagine a sailor at sea. He uses the stars to chart his course, not because the stars are his destination, but because they provide a reliable guide. In the same way, reason and logic help us discern truth from falsehood. Intuitive insights must be tested and confirmed through rational analysis. Otherwise, we risk mistaking a mirage for an oasis.
And yet, there are realms where reason can only go so far, where it reaches the edge of its own understanding, and must give way to a higher form of insight. Consider the story of a mystic who enters a dark cave to seek enlightenment. Reason provides a torch, guiding him through the twists and turns. But it is only by extinguishing the torch and embracing the darkness that he finds the hidden treasure within. Intuitive knowledge, then, is the light that comes not from the torch of reason, but from within the soul itself. It is a deeper understanding that arises from direct experience, from being in the very presence of the divine.
While your mystic may find solace in the darkness, philosophy seeks to illuminate. It seeks to bring light to the unknown through careful, disciplined inquiry. Even the great mystics have relied on reason to articulate their experiences. The kind of knowledge which can be shared, taught, and built upon is the knowledge that is derived from reason. Intuitive knowledge, as you describe it, is deeply personal and subjective. It is meaningful to the individual, but lacks the universal application required for it to be considered true knowledge in the philosophical sense. Truth must be accessible to all, not confined to the experiences of a select few.
Perhaps, Ibn Sina, there is a balance to be found. Reason with its clarity and structure, and intuition with its depth and intimacy. These are not necessarily in opposition, but can complement each other. The philosopher, like a weaver, uses both threads to create a tapestry of understanding, one that is rich in both reason and illumination. Let us continue this dialogue, not as opponents, but as seekers, striving to weave together the fabric of truth in both its rational and mystical forms.
The final leg of our journey brings us to the holy city of Medina, a place of deep spiritual significance and reflection. Under the shade of ancient palm trees in a quiet garden near the Prophet's mosque, Suhrawardi and Ibn Sina gather for their last debate.
Suhrawardi, we have debated the nature of essence and existence, and the pathways to knowledge. But now I am curious to hear more about your idea of the imaginal world. You propose a realm that exists between the physical world and the purely spiritual, a place of forms and images beyond the material, yet distinct from the divine. However, I find this notion problematic. If this world exists, it must have some basis in reality. How do you justify its existence without empirical evidence or rational proof?
The imaginal world, Ibn Sina, is not merely a philosophical construct, but a necessary realm that bridges the gap between the material and the spiritual. It is a world of archetypal forms and images where souls may experience visions and encounters that transcend physical limitations. Think of a dream, for instance. When one dreams, they experience a reality that is not purely physical or entirely abstract. This dream world is a shadow of the imaginal world. It is real in its effects and experiences, yet not bound to the physical laws of our waking life. Just as light passes through a prism to reveal a spectrum of colors, the divine reality refracts through the imaginal world to manifest in forms we can understand.
Your comparison to a dream is intriguing, yet dreams are the products of an imagination rooted in the physical brain. They are not external realities, but internal experiences shaped by our subconscious minds. To assert the existence of an entire realm based on such subjective experiences is a leap beyond what reason can accept. Consider a mirage in the desert. It appears real to the eye, yet it has no substance in reality. If we base our understanding on such phenomena, we risk constructing a worldview built on illusions rather than the truth.
But dreams and mirages, while internal and illusory, point to a deeper truth about human consciousness and perception. The imaginal world is not an illusion. It is a metaphysical reality that lies beyond the sensory world, but is accessible through an intellect and imagination purified by spiritual practice. Consider the concept of a mathematical object, such as a circle. A perfect circle does not exist in the physical world. It is an abstraction. Yet it is a real concept that can be comprehended by the mind. The imaginal world operates similarly. It exists as a real intermediate realm that gives forms to ideas, angels, and vision, an ontological reality that the soul can perceive through inner sight, in the same fashion that the intellect may perceive mathematical truths.
Your reliance on metaphysical constructs such as mathematical objects, while thought-provoking, does not suffice to prove an actual independent realm like the imaginal world exists. Mathematics operates in the realm of abstract thought, not physical existence. It is a tool for understanding the world, not an indication of another dimension. The idea of an intermediary realm lacks the empirical grounding needed to establish its existence. Imagine a person who describes a mythical land without ever providing a map or evidence of its existence. It remains only a story and not a reality.
Yet, Ibn Sina, do we not encounter realities beyond the physical every day? Love, justice, beauty. These are not physical entities, yet they have real effects upon our world. The imaginal world is akin to these abstract realities, but even more concrete in its forms and manifestations. Think of a poet who captures a universal truth in verse. The poem's words are physical, but the truth it conveys belongs to a higher realm. The imaginal world is a higher realm where truths, forms, and meanings exist in a more substantial way than mere physical objects. It is the meeting place of the divine and the human. where the unseen becomes seen and the unknown becomes known.
Love, justice, and beauty are indeed abstract concepts, but they manifest through actions and forms that are observable and measurable in the physical world. They do not necessitate an entire metaphysical realm for their existence. If the imaginal world exists, why can it not be observed or measured in any consistent way? Philosophers must ground their claims in reason and evidence without an appeal to mysticism. To move from an abstraction to asserting an independent realm is to exceed the bounds of what we can know and prove. It is the task of philosophy to seek clarity and understanding, not to multiply entities beyond necessity.
Philosophy, Ibn Sina, is indeed about seeking clarity. But clarity does not come through only the senses or even the intellect alone. There are truths that reside beyond the grasp of an empirical method, truths which are accessible only to those who have purified hearts and minds. The imaginal world is not accessible to ordinary perception because it is a higher plane of reality, perceivable only through the inner faculties once refined by spiritual practice. It is like a hidden garden that reveals itself only to those who know where and how to see. Thus, while it may not fit within the strict confines of rational empiricism, it offers a profound and necessary dimension to our understanding of existence.
Your vision is one of profound spiritual insight, Suhrawardi, but it must be reconciled with the demands of rational inquiry. We may agree that the human experience is rich with mystery and wonder, but philosophy seeks to explain, not obscure. Perhaps there is a place for your imaginal world in the broader tapestry of understanding, but it must be woven carefully with threads of reason and evidence. Until then, I remain skeptical, but open to the possibility that there are dimensions of reality yet unexplored by our minds.
With these final words, the debate draws to a close. The evening call to prayer echoes through the city of Medina, reminding both philosophers of their shared faith and commitment to the pursuit of knowledge. Though they approach truth from different paths, one through the lens of reason, the other through the light of illumination, they share a common goal: to understand the mysteries of existence and to bring light to the world. As the stars begin to appear in the night sky, Suhrawardi and Ibn Sina rise, acknowledging each other's perspectives with a deep sense of respect and mutual understanding, ready to continue their quest for knowledge, each in his own way.